There goes that man's jockstrap.
Oh my God, did you see that?
America's team? Yeah, right.
Oh, baby, it's a big day in sports. There's nothing like battling it out with your teammates all season long to go win a championship. Green Bay's got it this year. Huge move for them. I think it's going to be a game changer.
We have a lot to talk about this busy week in the sports world. Welcome to the In a League of Their Own podcast.
Tired of wearing the same pair of old boring golf shoes or shoes that don't have any grips out on the course? Now you don't have to worry. Head over to Golf Kicks. They customize all types of shoes from Crocs to flip-flops, sneakers to boat shoes. Wear them in style while you rip it up out on the course. Head over to golfkicks.com and use code OWN20 at checkout for 20% discount on your order. That's OWN20. Screw your shoes.
Hello, happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Excited for the weekend here. Big weekend, NFL, nearing an end, but also the beginning of the most exciting time.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, a lot of games to go over this weekend. Again, super wildcard weekend. We'll be diving into those individually and kind of giving our predictions for those. But just kind of the whole scope of the NFL is where we're starting for today. My first question for you, kind of sticking with playoff teams, which non-division winner in the playoffs do you think has the best chance to make the Super Bowl this year? So Steelers, Raiders, Patriots in the AFC, Niners, Eagles, Cardinals in the NFC. Which of those teams do you think is the full package that could go the distance?
I'm going to say the Eagles and the 49ers both, I'd say, have an equal chance just by how they play. Both their quarterback, obviously, Jimmy G, question mark on what you're going to get out of him. Jalen Hurts, this is his first NFL playoff game. What we see out of them, but they both play physical, a really physical style game. Both which are going to give both the teams that they play this weekend a lot of trouble. So I think both of those teams are equal in a chance to get there. I don't really see the other teams having much of a chance.
Yeah, the two teams I'm kind of looking at, 49ers, I agree with you on that just because their defense, if Jimmy G can play up to his prime, they have a really good shot. I mean, they were just in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. But the other team, again, pending a lot of their young guys, Patriots, they have the defense to do it. They have some offensive weapons. It's all going to come down to, is Mac Jones able to be thrown to the dogs in his rookie year and stand the test against Chiefs, Titans, Bengals? They're going to have to play one, if not two of those teams down the stretch here. So I don't know. I think the Patriots are going to have some troubles under QB just with, again, Mac Jones not having the experience, but if he's able to kind of prove the haters wrong and keep a level head, I think that's the other team at all levels of their on the field that could have a chance to go the distance.
Yeah, and they are without their starting left tackle. That was just announced an hour ago. He's out this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to see we got two division matchups in the first round here, Pats Bills and Cards Rams. So two teams who will be playing for the third time this season. If I remember correctly, they split each of the games in the regular season too. So this is kind of the
both of them, yep,
rubber match of, okay, who's actually the better team and when it matters most to either keep your season going or you're going home. So yeah.
Sounds good. Then keeping the playoff talk alive here. Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger, just the other day, basically in a whole bunch of words, kind of summed up and sounded like the Steelers didn't have much of a fighting chance. Do you think that they have a shot to upset the Chiefs now that they're back to full strength roster at the beginning of the year when they did take down the Bills week 1?
Do I think it's going to be a blowout? No, because I think a lot of these. I mean, I can't remember what the spread. I think that game has the biggest spread. I want to say they're double digit underdogs in the game, and I think that it is the biggest spread for a team to cover this weekend. They're 12.5-point underdogs. And the next closest is Eagles Bucks. Bucks are 8.5-point. Do I think the Steelers are going to win? No. Do I think that they are going to keep it closer than 12.5 points? I think that they have a good chance to, just because of their defense. As good as the Chiefs have looked, like the last 5, 6, 7 weeks, that DNA of them shitting the bed is still there. Like, they have all the same guys. They didn't go out and snag a handful of guys that helped turn their team around. They just found a way to flip that switch and start winning games again. That switch could easily be flipped back and they start playing like ass again. Mahomes starts making bad decisions. Steelers defense, so long as they stick to the send 3 or 4, drop 7 or 8 into coverage and force them to make really tough throws, they could have a chance to win the game. But also when you have TJ Watt, you have some of these other guys who are really going to get into the quarterback. Do you really only want to send 3 or 4 of them? I don't know what kind of the blitz rate is of the Steelers, but for the talent they have on that defensive side, I feel like they're a team that likes to send 6, 7 guys at the quarterback, like in the right situation. But again, I mean, they have the Steelers defense is going to be what's going to keep them in this game. On offense, they have a couple guys that, like, Juju Smith-Schuster is in the window of getting activated. I don't know if he's been officially activated for this weekend though yet.
No, he's been practicing. They're just waiting to activate him. I believe they were going to tomorrow because they play Sunday. So I think that what I heard was that they were waiting to go through tomorrow's practice, and then I think they were going to do it after the game tomorrow, because I think you have to be 24 hours ahead of time in order to play.
Yeah. So, I mean, getting him back would be huge. Their number one receiver, getting him back, it's anytime you get your number one receiver back, it's huge. But then, Freiermuth, the rookie tight end, Harris, the rookie running back, at their primes, at their height, going to be really good. But also as a rookie, first playoff game, you don't know what those nerves are going to bring. So there's a lot of question marks on the Steelers. Obviously, with the spread and the way things are looking, there's a reason why they're expected to lose by a big margin. But if they get all their rookies to show up and play at the prime that they have shown at times this year, and get Juju back at like a good level, I think that they keep it within one score. But again, all of the cards need to fall right for that to happen. But either way, I don't think they get blown out by 13 points. I think that they keep it within 10.
Yeah, I actually think the Steelers are going to upset the Chiefs now that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out of the game this weekend. They're also without their safety. I know Tyreek Hill will play even if he bears any setbacks. And there's one other player too that was injured that is going to play no matter what, even if they have a setback. So their offense is going to be working at 80% full strength. Their defense, their rush defense is terrible. I just feel like the Steelers, the smash mouth type of football that they do play, this was the one team that the Chiefs didn't want to draw.
Yeah. And I feel like if you're the Chiefs, I feel like there's been a handful of times. Other teams do this too, but I feel like the Chiefs more often than not, teams that they're supposed to beat by a big margin, either they barely sneak out the win or they end up coughing it up. Like early in the year when they had a really bad start, teams that they were expected to beat by 1 or 2 touchdowns, run away with the game, they were losing those games outright. Again, by the hands of Patrick Mahomes. We'll see again what Mahomes does. The playoffs is kind of when he comes alive and plays his best football. But like I said, the DNA of them playing not very good is still there from just a couple months ago. They found a way to suppress that, but it was not to say the Steelers can bring it back out of them.
And they did play the day after Christmas, and Kansas City did win 36-10. However, Ben Roethlisberger only played 3 quarters of the game. That's when he got banged up. Najee had almost 100 yards. Like, that was the first game where the Chiefs took that stride of, okay, we're going to bounce back now. And that was against a depleted Steelers team at that. I don't know. I just feel like we got the makings for a good one.
Yeah.
Because you only beat the Broncos by 4 the last week of the season. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Again, sticking with the playoff talk here, my question over the NFC. Packers, again, 1 seed, won't know until early next week who they're going to be playing, what day, what time, things like that. Obviously, depending how these games turn out, this might change the answer to the question. But which NFC team are you most scared to face if you're the Green Bay Packers?
Both the Eagles and the Niners. They're both equal in why I said equal for them to get to the Super Bowl is how they play. They run it down people's throats for 200 yards, and you can't. There hasn't been a team that stopped them yet. They play smash mouth football, hard physical type of football. They play fast. They control the clock. Both of those teams control the clock like Green Bay does. So it doesn't work out well when you play a team that plays a similar play style. Like clock management, taking the play clock down to 0-1 every time. Like that's what the Packers do. That's what these other teams do. And they run it a clip 8 yards at a time. And if we ever get into the position where we would miss a field goal kick or miss an extra point or not get a touchdown, only get 3, and we let these teams bleed out the clock and we don't get the ball back, we're looking at a similar situation to week 1 when the Saints blew us out. We only had the ball 4 times all game.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I'm scared of those 2 teams, because all the other teams are high power, score in 1 play, let's go, where those 2 teams literally slow it down.
Yeah. 4 times? That's how many times that they had the ball?
In week 1.
It had to be more than that.
2 in the first half, 2 in the second half. Rodgers didn't touch the ball. Here, I'm going to go back to it because he even talked about it on the Pat. He even talked about it on the Pat McAfee show earlier.
I was going to say, I feel like Rodgers had to have got more chances than that. I mean, he threw 2 picks, but
because that's what he was talking about as far as keeping the ball and stuff on the Pat McAfee show earlier in the year. It's about you can't win when you don't have the ball in your offense's hands.
Punt, field goal, interception, turnover on downs, punt, fumble. They had it 9 times.
Which is still like, okay, maybe I got the number wrong, but still the amount of times that we got the ball was way down compared to the amount of time that we normally have the ball.
Yeah.
We only had the ball for 25 minutes. Well, normally we're 35 plus.
I'd say that's more. Well, just because of turning it over on downs and interceptions, 9 is a lot. Because if you turn those into points on every single drive, if you get a field goal on 9 drives, that's 27 points.
Yeah, we went 1 for 10 on 3rd down and only had 14 first downs.
Yeah. So if anything, they had the ball a lot more than they usually do. Because 9, if you turn half those into touchdowns, 5 touchdowns and 4 field goals, that's 40-some points.
Yeah, but just as far as like having the ball, time of possession, that game we only had it 25 minutes when we're averaging 38.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was just bad clock management, but
which is the teams that we're playing against play the same way that the Packers do, is controlling the clock. That was the point that I was making.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I guess the 2 teams I'd be scared to face. Eagles. I mean, basically any team that runs the ball well, just because the Packers' run defense has not been up to par this year. The defense as a whole has been stellar compared to past years. But I mean, every team, no team is perfect. What's one team's Achilles heel? Packers, it's the run defense. Getting Zadarius Smith back is going to help kind of set the edges. Jair Alexander, not one of the first line guys to make a play on the run, but has the speed to stop a big run from breaking for a touchdown, fills holes well when they do keep them tighter in the box. I mean, they have all the right pieces back that they could suppress these teams. I mean, as much as I'm like scared to face the 49ers or Eagles, if you can hold them under 150 yards total rushing, you're going to win that game because they don't have anything else. You force the ball in Jimmy G's hands. He's shown that he makes bad decisions with the ball. Jalen Hurts, when you force him to throw, he, again, same ballpark. He's not known for standing in the pocket and gunslinging. So, yeah, I don't know. The rest of the teams, I mean,
We give up an average of 110 yards a game this year on the ground.
that's not bad.
That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th, 11th.
Oh, so they're a top half of the league for run defense then.
Yep. And the teams that are ahead of us: Ravens, Titans, Bucks, Saints, Bengals, Rams, 49ers, Washington, Eagles, Colts. Eagles and Colts both ahead of us. That's where the Packers too. We rely a lot on that run game too to be able to get yards, and so Rodgers doesn't have to throw it every single time. So it's like we're playing against really good run stopping teams as well.
Which it's funny still seeing all the debates of MVP this year and people like, but Brady has more touchdowns, more yards. Yeah, in an 80 to 90% passing offense. Like it's hilarious seeing all those comparisons still made that it's not about numbers, it's about efficiency. When is he throwing the ball? He's throwing for touchdowns and no interceptions. But yeah, I mean, it's a good mix. I mean, the Packers are really like 60-40 with the like pass over the run. Like they're very even keel. I don't know what exactly their number is of how often they run the ball, but it's more than I think people would expect. Oh, they got Aaron Rodgers under center. They pass the ball a lot, but they honestly don't. I mean, looking at his pass attempts, I think he's a full 80 or 90 attempts short of Stafford and Brady. That's 2 games less of passing attempts essentially. So, but again, Rams pass heavy, Bucks pass heavy, which kind of, again, putting that much pressure on Brady. Yeah, he's delivered. Yeah, he's got a lot of touchdowns. Yeah, he has a lot of yards, but also interceptions, not being able, or his Achilles heel being a Saints of not being able to move the ball against really good defenses. I don't know. I mean, obviously that whole conversation of MVP is wrapped up at this point. We won't find out until the night before the Super Bowl as to who wins, but now it's kind of a fresh slate. All that pressure of I got to play well to win MVP, which I'm sure the guys who are in that conversation don't care about winning MVP. Jonathan Taylor, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, they're not, oh, I need 50 more yards this game, otherwise I'm not going to be considered for MVP. Like, they don't care about that. But yeah.
I guess one thing I didn't notice, the Packers, we gave up the 3rd most passing touchdowns this season out of any team. Damn. 31.
I feel like because they get out to lead super early in the first half, for like second quarter, third quarter, they're up 2 or 3 scores. Teams are airing it out to try to catch back up. So that kind of makes sense.
The Bills have only allowed 12.
Jeez.
Yeah, Packers defense passing, we allowed 3,724 yards, dude. Bills only have allowed 2,771. They have allowed 12 touchdowns and they have 19 picks. Fuck.
But it also helps getting to play the Jets and Dolphins twice a year.
True. Even though the Dolphins did almost make the postseason.
Yeah. But the time I think they blew out the Jets both.
They played them and they played the Dolphins early in the year when they sucked too.
Yeah. Yeah, if I remember, all 4 of those games were 40-0, 30-something to 7, like.
And then they lose to Jacksonville 9-6.
Yeah, so that game was still. every time you checked it, it's like, oh, nothing happened. Oh, nothing. Hey, somebody scored a field goal. 10 more minutes go by, nothing happened. It's like, I don't know. The Bills are again one of those teams that, I mean, they have pieces, but it's like there's such a big question mark with. I mean, a lot of the AFC teams. It seems like it's almost a curse to be at that number one seed, that number one spot, because the second you take it, somebody's knocking you down, and it's a huge upset, and you're falling back down the ranks.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a wild playoffs. And then my last NFL question, what team currently without a head coach will be the first to sign their new head coach? Bears, Broncos, Texans, Dolphins, Vikings, Giants are currently the teams without head coaches at this point in time.
I'm going to say the Texans because I know that they just interviewed Brian Flores, former coach from Miami. And from what I've read, it went really well. They liked him a lot. I could see them announcing that they signed him over the weekend or early next week. Again, to me, it was still really head scratching why Miami got rid of him. 2 winning seasons, barely missed the playoffs. Ton of injuries across the board, and still a really young team. I think that there's a lot of other fingers to point at other than the head coaching position, because we'll see next year. I depending on who takes over in Miami, they could be its bottom 5 team in the league after getting rid of Flores and realizing, oh shit, he was actually like keeping us afloat and giving us a chance. But I think that the Texans see the success that he did in Miami. They're like, these guys messed up. We like him a lot. We're going to jump out and get him. So I think the Texans are going to be the first team to sign. None of really. I mean, a lot of the other teams are. I've seen. Oh, they're going to meet with this guy today. They're meeting with this guy tomorrow. But I haven't seen any come out and say, "Oh, this interview went really well," and it seems like they really like this guy. So, but I mean, anybody at any moment. I mean, somebody could be like the Bears or Vikings could be sitting down with somebody right now, and an hour after, hey, like, you're our guy, come back, like we want you. So,
because I know the Bears and the Vikings also were interviewing Flores, and he has a career record of 24 and 25. I think the Dolphins are actually going to be the first team to sign a coach because they're right on the fringe of getting in the playoffs. They have their team basically ready to go. Whole bunch of young guys. Bill O'Brien is the name that's been circling in the loop. He did a tremendous job when he was when he had a court, look at what he did with the Texans when he had Deshaun Watson and that team. They were in the playoffs every single year. Granted, they got knocked out the first round almost every time by the Colts, but still, they at least got into the playoffs every single year. I feel like he has the same type of Tua's got the same type of mobility and throwing capabilities as a Deshaun type Watson. They do have a young team. Their defense is excellent. I feel like that's going to be the team that is going to sign a guy first because they're the closest to getting where they need to be.
Yeah. I don't know if Bill O'Brien's the guy, though. Like, yes, he had success in Houston, but also he traded away J.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins for pennies on the dollar. Like, that's just bad management on his part, because that was a weird situation where he was the GM and the head coach. So he made the decisions no matter what. So he just, he helped bring the Texans to the playoffs a couple of years, but also, is he going to go to Miami and clean house, get rid of Tua? Like, you know what I mean? Does he go at, like, there's just that question mark of, is this guy going to run our team into the ground if we go after him?
Okay, so maybe I misspoke on that. I don't think maybe he doesn't become the head coach, but maybe he does go down there. I know Eric Bieniemy from the Chiefs is a high prospect of wanting this job. Same with Josh McDaniels. Even though we've seen Josh McDaniels leave before, I believe, right? He's left New England before. Who was the guy who left to go to the Lions and then came back?
That was
that McDaniels?
No. It was Matt Patricia.
That was Matt Patricia. Yeah, but those are two names underneath the Belichick tree that both have been interested in the job, and they have a team basically right there ready to go.
Yeah.
And just looking, I guess, for the Dolphins, just because I was curious, since I thought their team, Eric Bieniemy betting odds is the best odds right now to become the head coach. Same, and Josh McDaniels, they both actually have plus 400 odds.
Yeah. If Bill O'Brien was smart, he'd stay in Bama. Like, you're still gonna make your millions. Instead of working with like the next best person to work under other than Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, obviously a top 5 coach. I mean, if you're looking at the whole scheme of football, I mean, maybe he'd make a little more money in the NFL. You get a little bit more eyes on you because the NFL is bigger than college football, but also you're at Bama. You have a chance to win a national championship every single year. You take the risk of going to a team like the Dolphins, the Bears, the Vikings. Who knows how long until, or if ever, you sniff a Super Bowl going there. So, he kind of, I honestly forgot he was there. It was weird to see again with kind of how things turned out in Houston. He goes to Alabama and fits right in, and they have one of the best offenses in the nation. So obviously the guy's smart. He knows what he's doing. But again, it's just his team management and the everything that happens behind the scenes of how a team is run. That's kind of the question mark that I have on him.
There's only been one successful GM and coach ever to do it in the business, and there's been like 18 or 19 guys who have tried, and Bill Belichick's the only one who's been successful.
Yeah.
I feel like there's just too much on your plate where you can't do it all unless you're a football god like Bill.
Where you dedicate your life and you look like a zombie at points to where it's like.
Because I don't think Bill ever got married, did he?
Yeah, he has a wife.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, he never wears the ring.
Because I know I've seen videos of
divorced 06.
Oh, because that makes sense. Because I remember back when Randy Moss was there, they had like a Halloween party, and Bill Belichick and his wife went to the party just as pirates. So I remember at one point in time he was married, but yeah, divorce. I mean, obviously it sucks, but it makes sense. I mean, look at the guy.
Ex-wife and her net worth is $2 million.
Yeah. I'm sure it's more than that as the years go on, and that dude keeps racking up the money. But I mean, when you dedicate your life to something that much, football, non-football, anything, like I'm sure late nights not coming home, he's sitting at the facility watching film, like just that typical like guys never home and won't ever not stop thinking about football kind of thing. But
that's what a lot of athletes deal with too. And when they're done, they're usually, when they make their Hall of Fame speech or retired, they really thank their family because they weren't able to be around.
yeah,
They weren't able to put the time and be there because they had a job to do. And when you do something like sports or whatever the case may be, if you want to be really good at it, you can't be half in, half out either and make a career out of something. So yeah, that's one thing a lot of athletes / coaches talk about is the really good ones aren't there around a lot, like for their family.
yeah.
I know Shannon Sharp talks about that a lot, how that's the first thing he did when he got drafted into the Hall of Fame was literally, I'm sorry, family, that I wasn't able to come to Thanksgivings, Christmases, birthday party. Like, I had a job to do.
Yeah. Yeah, they're wrapping up our football talk here with the Super Wildcard Weekend. 6 games on the slate. We're going to break down and give you our winners for each of the 6 games. So kind of going in order here, starting with Raiders, Bengals. Who do you got getting the W in that one?
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I agree with you. Cincinnati. Raiders kind of snuck in. Them along with the Steelers, kind of two of those teams that quote unquote shouldn't be there kind of thing, just because they had to have a bunch of things fall their way to even get there. Bengals are rested, not playing a bunch of their guys week 18. I think that they roll. I think that that game or Bucks Eagles could be the biggest, the most lopsided games this weekend.
Agreed.
Next, we got one of the two division matchups in the playoffs, Pats, Bills. Who do you got?
I got the Bills.
I got the Bills as well. I think it's going to be a really close game. Again, two really good defenses. But Josh Allen, Mac Jones, that's going to be the difference in this game. And Josh Allen is, I feel like, who 90% of America would roll with as well right now.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting tomorrow. Actually, it's supposed to be frigid conditions, super windy again, just like when they had the running fiasco game. Now that I saw that as far as the weather.
But do the Bills let it happen twice now that they have all this film of how they can stop it?
Yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, I just don't think so. Bills came too far, I feel like.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year, maybe. But with how they've turned around and leading the defense or leading the league with defense wins championships.
Mm-hmm. And then the last game for Saturday, Eagles Bucks. What do you got?
I got the Eagles.
I'm sticking with the GOAT. Again, how we talk all the time, can't bet against Tom Brady, Nick Saban, or Bill Belichick. So I'm gonna keep doing that until, well, actually, I take that back. That got proven wrong really this week in the national championship. Betting.
I bet against them and got it. I'm feeling it right now. I feel like they're gonna go down. I feel like all three are gonna go down in a week. Saban goes down on Monday, Belichick goes down Saturday, and as well as Tom.
I mean, as a fan of sports, that'd be really cool to see because it's just like finally. But I still think Tom gets it done. It's just as good as the Eagles team is. I don't know. Like the Bucks have some missing pieces too. They're not at full strength. Their defense isn't quite up to par that they were last year. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm not gonna bet against Tom.
And that I forgot. Did you say that game was tomorrow? You said the third game for Saturday?
Yeah, isn't it?
No, it's the first game on Sunday. There's 3 on Sunday. 2 tomorrow, 3 Sunday, 1 Monday.
Oh yeah, I forgot that they have one on Monday.
The first time ever, because normally it is 3 and 3.
Yeah, that's what I just thought. I was like, all right, first 3, last 3. But yeah, forgot about that. Then our other 2 Sunday games, 49ers at the Cowboys.
Who do you
Boys
got?
or I'm taking San Fran. I think this is gonna be the biggest upset of Wild Card Weekend. I know I always shut on the Cowboys. I mean, as good as they are, like number one offense. Yeah, you drop 50 points on 2 of your division rivals, but again, it's the NFC East. Like, take it as you will. I don't know. I think that the 49ers defense is going to give Dak problems. They have Trent Williams at left tackle. I think he's going to keep Micah Parsons at bay all game, only allow maybe 1 or 2 pressures on the quarterback. At 49ers, I think, like we talked about earlier, Eagles, 49ers with the run game, I think they just run it down San Francisco's throat. Kyle Shanahan is the offensive mastermind. He pulls a couple tricks out of his sleeves, some trick plays, some double pitches, some motion, all that. I think that they get it done. And like I said, biggest upset of Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah, I actually think the boys are going to win this one. Their defensive speed matches the 49ers run game, how they like to do reverses, wide receiver jet sweeps, all that type of stuff to get defenses moving side to side. They basically expose the Rams for that they can't cover that. Cowboys team speed is way up there, because like you said, Trent Williams can block Micah Parsons. But then what about D-Law, Randy Gregory. What about the other guys coming through as well? I think the Cowboys edge this one out due to a Jimmy G turnover. I think he's going to make a stupid turnover in this game just because his hand's not even fully healed yet either.
Yeah, I think this game's gonna be a lot they match up really well. I think if the Cowboys, they would have wanted the Cardinals again. They would have wanted, well, even though the Cardinals beat them, the Cowboys made some mistakes in that game that costed them.
I think they got exactly who they wanted. I think they got lucky with their first round.
Yeah.
Just because of the quarterback health. Like how well is he going to be able to grip the ball and throw? Because his fucking pinky or whatever is detached from his bone. Like same injury as Russell Wilson. Russell missed 8 weeks of the season. Jimmy G's back and playing with the same injury. It's like, how effective can you be?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. If they will win, if their running game literally dominates, like if their running game dominates, yeah, I don't think.
Do you think if we see a double-digit deficit on the 49ers and at halftime, do we see Trey Lance make an appearance to try to save the game?
Absolutely. If there's any sign that Jimmy G's a potential hazard, I say they go to Trey Lance. You have nothing to lose. You've gotten this far.
Yeah.
You got in as a wild card team on your last, on a loss that last week of the season. It's just like
they won.
Oh, they beat the Rams?
Yeah. At the end. Overtime. Interception. Sealed the game.
Fuck, that's right. We were watching that. Yeah. I don't know. I could see Trey Lance getting there sooner than, like, making an insert sooner rather than later. Even if they already have design packages for the guy to come in and run the ball, do whatever the case, just to change things up for Dallas's defense, because they like to send the guys after the quarterback.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, like you said, they already bring him in a handful of times a game. It makes sense if they bring him in maybe double that, 8 to 12 times a game, just because there's no footage on the guy. There's probably 10, 20 plays of footage on Trey Lance in the NFL so far this year. There's not a whole lot. So you bring him in a formation that they haven't shown yet this year. You catch the Cowboys off guard. Shit, he's in. We haven't seen this formation yet. What do we do? It's a way to catch them off guard for either a touchdown, maybe on a 3rd and short to get an easy first down. Like, yeah, if they're smart, either way, we should see a good amount of Trey Lance, whether Jimmy G struggles or they just bring him into the game plan for some different looks.
You know what, dude? After thinking about it here, I'm going to go Niners as well. I just think it's going to come down to the Cowboys, not the Niners run game. I think it's going to come down to the Cowboys running game. How much can Zeke and Pollard do? And they haven't been doing shit lately. Dak hasn't shown that he can win a game gunning it out, throwing it out. I'm going to join you on the 49ers.
Because I think the Cowboys are kind of in that same boat as the Eagles, to where they need 180, 200 yards on the ground to have a chance. Because like you said, Dak.
Cowboys, you said?
Yeah. They're
29-0 once if they get over 100. With Dak being their starter.
Okay, so then they even less for them. But I don't think under 120. I don't think they have to get more than 120. I'd say as a team, just because like you said, Dak's gonna win comeback player of the year. Hats off to him, like coming back where he came from. But I think that you put the ball in his hands. He's proven he makes mistakes.
And McCarthy's a fucking terrible time management guy.
Yeah,
like they're gonna lose the game from some botched.
Either by running the ball 3 times and punting, if it ever comes to a crunch, like end of the second quarter, if there's like a minute left, it seems like he runs the ball once or twice and just goes to halftime, where Aaron Rodgers is licking his lips if he's got a minute on the clock and 1 or 2 timeouts.
Any other team besides that.
Yeah. They just, like you said,
trying to score.
And you need the ball going to halftime, and it's like, okay, end of the game comes, shit, we're down 2. he would have went for a field goal on that drive, we'd be up right now. I don't know. I still think it's funny. Like, good for Mike to get another spot in the NFL, but it's like, I don't think he's not gonna be the guy to win. Dak and Mike, either of them on their own, but the two of them together, I don't think it's gonna be a combination that's ever gonna win the Cowboys a Super Bowl. One, or if not both of them, have to go.
Yeah. I think it's Mike. I think Kellen Moore, honestly, should probably be the head coach of that team.
Yeah, but he's
It's like
another
he's
guy.
calling he's another guy that's up for same with Hackett, Rogers quarterback coach.
I know.
He's a big name. That's
he's a coordinator.
Yeah, in Denver, I know on the McAfee show earlier this week, he was hoping that he gets the job out there. Like he's that. It's great to see organizations like he said. It's great to see your coaches and stuff move on to get head coaching jobs other places. That mean your organization has done a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
But it sucks when you don't have the people in place to replace them when they do go. Where he was very happy with the guys who are below those guys who are going to fill in and take the spots if they do get these jobs. And that's why I fully believe he's going to stay regardless of what happens this year. But
I could see moving on if and when Rodgers moves on. Where
who moving on?
Nathaniel Hackett. To where he stays until Rodgers either retires or goes to a different team. And then here's my resume. This is a guy I've worked with for X amount of years. And then he'd get a head coaching job. I mean, there's how many probably 5 to 8 head coaching positions of turnover every single season.
Well, there's 6 right now that are open.
Yeah.
And then just think of how many at the end of the year are going to come.
Yeah. Well, and plus the Raiders will throw in that equation. And
all the coordinator jobs as well that those people get done with after the year. It's like there's a lot of jobs that open up.
Yeah. But, yeah, going to our last 2 games here then. Steelers-Chiefs. Again, the biggest spread of wild card weekend.
I think the Steelers are going to win.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Chiefs still. I think, again, it's going to be a closer game than 12.5 points. I think the Steelers keep it within 1 possession, but I mean, like you always say, defense wins championships, and I think that, I mean, for a lot of these teams, Bills best defense, they have the edge over the Pats.
The only defense that's not in the top 12 is the Chiefs defense.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is the only way the Steelers stay in this game is due to their defense. Yes, defense wins championships, but also you hold the Chiefs to 17 points, but your team only scores 7, you're going to lose a game. You know what I mean? Like you need offense. And I think, yes, they're getting guys back. Big Ben might pull something out of his sleeve. Maybe he's not showing his cards. Oh, we don't have a chance. We're just going to go out there and have fun. He's going to go out there and play maybe his best game we've ever seen him play in years. But I don't know. Chiefs haven't given me a reason to go against them, just with the momentum they built over the last couple weeks here. So, yeah.
I would have picked the Chiefs if they wouldn't have had Tyreek getting hurt, their safety getting hurt, running back out of the game, all these question marks coming up. And when there has been question marks around the Chiefs this season, they've lost. When they've no-doubtably, they got their shit together, here they come.
Yeah.
No-doubtably, they win. When there's question marks, they just haven't pulled it off. And I feel like, I don't know, just like you said, dude, I feel like Big Ben's going to pull something out of his ass. That defense, TJ Watt's going to show why he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Minka Fitzpatrick's going to make, that team's loaded with a lot of people who are superstars that you just don't hear about because of their record this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and then our last game on Monday, Cardinals-Rams, NFC West matchup. Who do you got in that one?
I got the Rams.
That's who I'm rolling with as well. I mean, despite the question mark of Matthew Stafford, is he going to turn the ball over too many times?
Is JJ Watt going to play?
Yeah, that too. I just think the Rams kind of, again, the momentum they built over the last couple of weeks, they win the division. Cardinals kind of haven't been able to get back to the football that they played when they started the year 7-0 or 8-0, whatever it was. Yeah, I think that the Rams, I think it's going to be a close one again. Anytime you play your a division rival 3 times in a year, you're going to have really good games. Yeah, Rams at home. I think that they get the win as well.
Yeah, I think this is going to be this game and the Bengals Raiders game. I feel like are going to be the two actually, and I'm going to throw the Bills in there as well. I could see the Bills whipping up on the Patriots like they did the second time that they played earlier in the year. I could see all 3 of those games being 2-score games. Like I just feel the Rams are going to put it down the Cardinals' throat.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all going to be really good games. Again, it's playoffs, so all these teams deserve to be here, whether it was by dominating all season or getting in by the right tiebreakers and criteria. They're all here for a reason. So, yeah, 3 days of football, playoff football this weekend. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
Then moving over to the hardwood here for the NBA. Kind of something that's been trending lately with one of the league's top guys, Steph Curry. Kind of his play lately. I guess kind of the question is, do you think he's cursed? And because since passing the all-time 3-point record, he's been on a decline, including last night's loss to the Bucks, where he went 4 for 11 and only scored 12 points. And he's had multiple games under 15 points, some in single digits, shooting 20% from the field. I guess, what do you think is going on with the Warriors and Steph right now?
I do think that he is going through a slump. I'm not going to say he's cursed eternally, but I'm going to say him breaking that record definitely put some dark clouds above this guy and this team. This team's went from the top to middle now. Were they third, fourth?
They're second still.
Oh, they're still second?
Yeah. It's
just by the fashions that they're
Grizzlies.
losing, I should say, the fashion that they're losing, they don't look like they're a top team. They look like they look like the Pistons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like literally they look so bad after watching the game yesterday. They look like a team that doesn't deserve to be out there right now.
Yeah. I mean, if the playoffs started right now, I definitely would not be. I'd see the Warriors as a first round exit. They have plenty of time to turn things around. They just got Clay back a week or 2 ago or last week. Trying to still mix him in. He's hasn't had a breakout game yet. I mean, if Steph figures things out, Clay gets conditioned and gets back into the swing of things, both of those guys play at their highest level, they could go back to the top of the West in a matter of a couple games. So, yeah, definitely, it's concerning the decline that they're on because there's teams below them that are surging up, but they have time to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree. Then speaking of last night's game, which you just mentioned, Giannis dropping a 30-point triple-double. Is he the MVP right now?
Yeah, I would say that he is. Just with the play of the net, like the Nets right now, they're kind of hitting a slump. KD isn't quite playing up to the level that he was 2 or 3 weeks ago. Giannis is the first player to ever drop, what was it, 30-point triple doubles in less than a week or something. There was some stat like that. Bucks are getting traction. Again, they beat a really good Warriors team. Again, Warriors a little bit on a decline, but nonetheless, they're the Warriors. They have, look at the roster that they have. You can't count them out ever. And yeah, they're right where they want to be, kind of that 2nd to 4th spot in the East, flying a little under the radar. Nobody's really still talking about them. Everybody's still high on the Nets and Bulls in the East. Yeah, I think right now, if the season ended, I would say Giannis gets MVP.
I would agree. He's dominating.
And it's all about the runs of the game. Steph was undoubtedly MVP. What, month and a half ago? It's like
Up until he broke the record.
Nobody's doing what he can do. And
Then it was KD for a little bit. Then
Yeah.
KD hit his little shit streak, and now Giannis is. And
that's
then
the
once
thing,
Giannis
Giannis
has his, he doesn't have a decline.
Yeah, he never has a decline. It's either 30-point games or 40-point games.
Or a 20-point game, triple doubles.
Yeah, like there's no decline for him. It's just everybody likes to see he scored 50. He scored 50. It's like Giannis doesn't need to score 50. Like he's got
the position he plays to is different than the other guys too.
Yeah.
Like he's not shooting it every time like KD and Steph are. So it's even more impressive when he gets that many points.
It's been cool seeing there's been a couple highlight assists that he's had with no-look passes across the court. Giannis is kind of developing that to his game now too, where, I mean, finding an open guy without looking at him, like knocking down easy corner threes, stuff like that. That's all stuff that goes
he's
a long
growing.
way.
He's growing. It's like we saw the LeBron evolution. It's the same type of evolution. As you get older, you add the little attributes to your game, obviously, because he's coming into his prime too. Like he's not even in his prime yet. He's coming into it. Like how good can he get yet?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my second question of the NBA here, talking about, again, another hot team, if not the hottest team in basketball, the Memphis Grizzlies.
Lost since, dude.
11 win streak since we talked about them like 2.5 weeks ago. They now sit just 3 games back from Phoenix and a game and a half back from the Warriors, with I think 8 or 9 games left to play this month for the Grizzlies. Do you think that they could take the number 1 spot before the end of the month?
I think that's a little much to get it by the end of the month, but I do see this Grizzlies team ending up the number 1 seed in this Western Conference. Like I'm about to buy myself a Ja jersey. I think I feel like we've become a Grizzlies podcast, dude. Like we've given them a bump. I feel like we got to support them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and they get it done by committee too. They're not a one guy team.
No,
like these other team, the Warriors, they're not just 2-3 guys. They're a full team, just like Milwaukee is. And I feel like they're going to make it pretty far.
Yeah. And I mean, the biggest thing about the Grizzlies too, a category that I think they're either first or they're in the top 3 of, is points in the paint, which is crazy that Ja Morant averages more points in the paint than I think KD, Giannis, LeBron, some of these guys. He leads a lot of these guys in points in the paint, and the Grizzlies are number 1 for points in the paint in the NBA. The other is field goal attempts per game. The Grizzlies push the pace. They really good transition, fast break too. They lead the NBA. It's like 18.7 points per game of fast break points, where they just steal, rebound, boom, flip that switch and get down court, where you get an easy look at the basket on a fast break. If you're averaging almost 20 points a game off the fast break are some of the easiest points to score, because either you're one-on-one with some space or there's nobody and you get an easy basket. So between dominating the paint and being really good at the fast break, the Grizzlies, I mean, they don't have a top, I think they're fifth, 15th or 16th for total defense, or just points given up at least. So they're not a top 10 defensive team, but they're second or third for offense. So, I mean, in the NBA, you don't need the best defense. You just, so long as you can kind of keep some teams at bay, but you can still drop 120, 130 points on them night after night, you're going to keep winning games.
Yeah, they're the 3rd for points scored per game offense. Jazz, Hornets, Grizzlies, Lakers, then Bucks, top 5.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it'd be tough. It's possible. I mean, it's 9 games left. If the Grizzlies don't lose a game, all they need the Suns to do is lose 3. Which again is the Suns are still playing really good basketball. They're still a top team in the West for a reason, but I could see next month in February for sure, if the Grizzlies continue their dominance, they could be first, second week of February, where they're at the top of the West.
And that's one thing that we always forget too. Phoenix Suns also have 4 games in hand compared to the Grizzlies.
Oh, really? I didn't
They've
see
only
that.
played 4. They've only played 40. Grizzlies, almost every team. Toronto's got 38 games played. Chicago's got 39. Phoenix has 40. Philadelphia has 40. Pistons, Denver, Atlanta 40. Then a whole bunch have 41, 42, but 44. There's only 3 teams in the league who have played every game. Grizzlies, Bucks, Kings.
Well, everybody's played every game. There haven't been any.
Well, they've had postponed games.
Yeah, but they've made those up already.
Right, but then Toronto hasn't played, is 6 games less played than the Grizzlies because of postponed games.
Oh,
Just like Phoenix, they had a huge outbreak and they had to postpone as well. Same with the
Yeah.
Bulls. And that's why they're 3 games back now, but if Phoenix wins 4, then they're 7 games back even.
mm-hmm. But also, with those games to make up for the Suns, they're going to have to play back-to-back nights a couple times to make those up. I mean, playing back-to-back nights is never fun, hockey or basketball, whenever they have to do it. I don't know what their record is on back-to-back nights so far, but
They're 4-2 on 0 days rest, 20-4 on 1 day's rest, 6-1 on 2 days rest, 1-1 on 3 days rest, and 0-1 on 6+. So the longer they rest, the worse they get. Seems like the quicker they play, the better they are.
yeah. But still, they're 4-2?
Yep. In 6 games played that they have of back-to-backs.
Well, I was on 0 days rest. They're 4-2. So two of their 9 losses have come playing back-to-back nights, which is a quarter of your losses, pretty much.
And 4 of them came on 1 day's rest. So that's half.
Yeah. So when they play back-to-back or one night, 1 day off, they're not the best. I mean, I'm sure that's the case for a lot of teams. No team is going to be perfect playing on 0 days rest. That's just not possible, especially depending on how your record falls. You could play back-to-back top teams, both that could be 2 losses back-to-back for you.
Just looking at the Bucks, dude. They're 3-5 on back-to-backs, 18-10 on 1 day's rest, 4-2 on 2 days rest, and perfect when they get to rest 3. So they aren't as good playing back-to-backs.
Yeah. Yeah, but like I said, if you go across the board to every team, I guarantee that there's not a team that's played more than 4 games back-to-back nights that's perfect right now, probably.
Yeah, you could be right.
I mean, it's possible.
It'd take way too long to look.
It'd take too long to look, but it's like, I don't see it like looking at if there's a team that was like 40-5 right now, maybe, but like, but yeah.
Here we go. Oh, never mind. That was last year. And even last year, no team was perfect throughout the whole year. They was close. Utah Jazz were 12-2 on back-to-backs. And who's this other team? Clippers were 11-2 as well. Otherwise, yeah, 12-5, 8-7, 7-6, 7-10. Like, they're not very good. There's only like 4 teams that did good back-to-backs.
Well, just because usually on back-to-back nights, the second night you see a lot your bench players get a lot more looks. So unless you have a starting 5 that can come off your bench, like, it's gonna be hard to win back-to-back nights consistently.
Yeah, it says for betting facts for this year, on average, rested teams who have over a day of rest have won 51.8% of their games. Teams who have gone back-to-back have won 43.6%. So odds are on the team that's got rest.
Yeah.
That actually looks. Article popped up below that NBA is actually looking a way to reduce the number of teams that have to play back-to-backs going forward, like for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
Which would be nice, dude. Like we mentioned, cut the games down, spread them out a little bit.
Yeah.
So everybody's 100% every single game.
Yeah, and it makes the games more fun to like. I rarely watch a full game of basketball. I'm always looking at scores to kind of see, how this team is doing against this team, that and that. And if it's like mid third quarter and it's a back and forth game between really two good teams, I'll throw it on and watch the rest of it. But other than that, these games aren't really that fun to watch right now, just because it's like they don't mean a whole lot until you get down to the last like 20.
Yeah, and especially with how these conferences are as tight as they are this year. Obviously, West is a little bit of a different story because the first 4 are basically in already at this point. It seems like we're in the East, like the Bucks' current position. They lose 2 or 3 games in a row, they could end up 8-9 spot, and we're still super good. Like the East is rolling this year, which ties into my next question. Miami Heat. Do you think that they take the number 1 seed in the East at some point during the season? They're currently 2 games back behind the Bulls with 39, 41, and they have 2 more games played than the Bulls.
They have 1 less game than the Bulls. Or no, wait. Never mind. I was looking at wins losses. I don't think they do. I think that Brooklyn figures it out. Bulls stay hot. Milwaukee jumps them. I could see Miami finishing 4th or 5th in the East this year. Still good. I mean, honestly, it seems like whoever's that 1 seed in the East the last 5-6 years doesn't make it to the finals just because everybody's gone in for them. It almost seems like it's better to be in that 2 to 5 range, honestly. So,
yeah, I was just saying, do you think that they are sitting in the number 1 seed at least for a day, a week, or whatever at some point during the season?
No, I don't think they do.
All right.
Like I said, they're playing really good basketball, 3-game win streak, and the Brooklyn and Chicago team ahead and behind them are both have lost their last one. Brooklyn's actually 4-6 over the last 10, but yeah, they're within. Yeah, Brooklyn's tied. Milwaukee's half a game back. I feel like both of those teams jump them at some point.
Sounds good. Yeah, I just thought after the Heat's their last 3 wins, beating the Trailblazers, pounding the Suns by 23, pounding the Hawks by 29, and then they play the Hawks again today.
Which should be another easy win because they just got rid of Cam Reddish. They sent him to the Knicks, which I feel like they're kind of the Hawks are starting to realize, okay, we're 12th in the East right now. We're 10.5 games back. We're 3 games out of the play-in tournament. Let's start to kind of build for next year because I think I can't remember who they got, but they get a 1st-round pick for him next year. So,
and the Hawks play the Heat twice in the next 7 days after they just got smoked by them.
Yeah, so that could be 2 easy wins for the Heat or for anybody going forward. Just because, as good as Trae Young is, he can't win you games by himself. And now that they got rid of Cam Reddish, a guy who they leaned on a lot over the past couple of years, I mean, in hindsight, it's always 20/20, but at the moment, it looks like a bad move for the Hawks. But I mean, if you're the Knicks, it's a good
bad
move
for the Hawks. They play the Hawks. They play the Heat tonight, Knicks tomorrow, followed by the Bucks. So they're in for a 3-game beatdown.
Yeah, sounds good. Then moving over to the ice here, those darn Oilers. Now losers of 5 straight, and have only 2 regulation wins in their last 13 games. Are the Oilers too far into this shit streak to make a playoff push, or do you think that they still find their way in as a wild card?
I mean, for how many games they have in hand.
But the games that they've, like, no matter how many games they have in hand, they're still losing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that whole division, that whole Pacific division is fucking sucking right now, except for the Kings. They're all on losing streaks. Bad. I think that this conference, outside of one team, the Golden Knights, now that they're kind of getting back healthier, I think it's an open crapshoot. I think they're not out of it yet. Even Vancouver's still not out of it yet. I think that they still have a chance. You have one of the most dynamic players in the world, 2 of them that are on your team. All it takes is for them to get things going to run off a 10-12 game heater in a row. So I don't think it's too late yet, especially like I said, right now they have a 3-game cushion on the Kings, who are only 5 points ahead of them. So they win 3 games, they're in that 3rd spot.
Yeah.
I think that they get there.
Yeah, I think if they make the postseason, I think they get in as a wild card, though. I don't think that they get in as a top 3 team at this point anymore. Because, I mean, Calgary was playing really good, too, at one point. They also have the same amount of games played as Edmonton, and they're 2 points ahead. So they're a game ahead with the same amount of games played. Yeah, I don't know. I think the kind of the way it looks right now, I could see Vegas getting in no matter what, Ducks as well, and then either Kings or Calgary being that 3rd spot, and then Edmonton still sneaking in with a wild card spot, I think.
I agree. I think the Sharks are going to be the odd mans out of that top 6 in that Pacific division, and it's going to be. But the Central Division, as good as they're going right now, with teams turning their stuff around, and you have the Avalanche, Wild, Jets, Stars, only with 33, 34 games played. That's even less than the Oilers. Like, most of them have less than the Oilers, and they're
6 points
9
ahead.
points. Like the Wild are, like the Avalanche are 9 points ahead with 1 less games played. Like, it's going to come down. The Stars are cooking. Like, honestly, if they don't finish in the top 3 in the Pacific, they ain't getting in. I think the Central is going to have both wild card teams.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of that, because right now 44 and 39 would be Minnesota Winnipeg, which would be ahead of the Sharks and Calgary. So yeah, and they have less games played, so they have a potential to add more points to that. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So yeah, basically in the Pacific, top 3 is the only way.
If you're not top 3, and that's always usually kind of how it goes to with the Pacific, because of the easier. I'm not going to say it's easier teams, but you just have the shit for the travel. Like the Pacific Division, you have the most terrible travel out of all of the teams, because you have to go the farthest to get everywhere all the time. And that's why we typically see the Metro, the Central, the top teams in the league, because partial of that is travel, not much wear and tear on your team and hours and jet lag and all that type of stuff. So yeah, Central's too tough this year for more than 3 Pacific teams, I feel like, to get in.
Yeah.
And on to my question here, sticking with the Pacific, the Kings found their way in that 3rd spot. Nobody expected this from how basically their yard sale year a few years ago, after their exit in the playoffs, got rid of a lot of veterans, especially my boy Jeff Carter. They moved on from a lot of people. Young squad. Nobody thought that they'd be in this position. They're now in the 3rd spot. Do you think that they continue to shock the world and end up getting in to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, kind of like we were just talking about that Pacific. It's been kind of a rotating door of who's going to the or who's at the top. For a while, it was the Ducks. The Ducks kind of slid. The Knights moved up. Calgary was at the top to start the year with Edmonton. They're now in the 5th and 6th spot. It's just been a rotation. The only team I could see knocking the Kings out of that 3rd spot would be Calgary right now, honestly. And they're only 2 points back with 3 less games played. But Calgary is also on a 4-game shitter, which I could see them continuing that. Yeah, I think that they could hang on to that 3rd spot, if not take the 2nd spot from the Ducks, because again, they're 2 points back from the Ducks and 2 games less played. Yeah.
And Calgary's off until next Tuesday still.
Yeah.
Which they have their games when they come back. They have the Panthers, Oilers for Battle of Alberta, Blues, Blue Jackets, Blues, Canucks, Stars. So they have 8 games immediately that are against good teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Then I think
they just lost to the worst team in the NHL before their break. Sens beat them 4-1.
Jeez. Yeah, I think they keep sliding. I think Kings keep rolling. Yeah, Kings could be 2nd or 3rd in the Pacific, I think. I don't think that they fall out.
I'm going to agree. I think that they take the 2nd spot. They've proven that they can beat some of the top teams, beating the Rangers 3-1, beat the Penguins 6-2. They beat the Capitals this year 3-2. They beat the Hurricanes, Panthers, Lightning. They've beaten all the top teams. I think that they stay in it. They built. Daryl Sutter's done a great job with that team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, early on, like you said, nobody was really. They weren't a breath in the conversation as far as a top team in the Pacific, let alone the entire NHL. And now they're right in the mix and playing some of the best hockey. I mean, a 3-game win streak. What is that, tied? Is anybody else? Yeah. Well, the Bruins have a 4-game win streak. Otherwise, there's a couple other teams with a 3. So they're on one of the best streaks in hockey right now, too.
Yeah, and also to mention the Kings, which got to give them a shout out. Their trainer becomes the first female staffer on an NHL bench in NHL history. So shout out.
It's awesome. And my last hockey question here for you. After being almost a sure lock in the Metro a month ago, the Washington Capitals are on a 4-game shitter and sit just 2 points ahead of the Pens, who have a game in pocket for that 3rd spot in the Metro for a lock for the playoffs. Will they survive and hold on to a top 3 spot, or will they fall into the wild card mix? Because after Pitt, like, it's basically I'm in Pittsburgh because they have a 12 point lead over Blue Jackets and then 14 over Flyers. So
I'm just looking at the other division. You got the Bruins who are at 34 games with 44. Oh, you were just talking the Metro.
Yeah, just the Metro. Do they secure his top 3 spot in the Metro, or do they end up testing their luck with the wild card?
Oh man,
because it's two wild card spots, right?
That's a tough call.
It's 2 wild card spots, right?
Total, yep. The top 3 in each division, and then it's just the next 2 highest points in the conference.
I mean, either with the 3rd spot or a wild card, the Capitals would be sitting fine because after Boston, they have a 7-point lead over Detroit, who has 4 more games played. And then
Detroit's got only 1 more than Capitals.
Bruins in Detroit. I'm saying they have a 7-game lead in 4 less games played. So basically, Bruins can kind of separate themselves and make that top 4 in the Atlantic like kind of a cutoff point. And then the same in the Metro too. After Pittsburgh, they have a 12-point lead over the Blue Jackets. So basically, I mean, obviously it's not a lot because there's still a lot of hockey to be played, especially with games to make up. But right now, the Atlantic, Tampa, Florida, Toronto, Boston, Metro, Rangers, Hurricanes, Capitals, Pens are kind of almost a sure lock at this point with the lead that they've built and having less games played than the teams underneath them.
Well, and the Islanders, you can't keep them out of the conversation because they have like 10 games to make up.
Yeah, they have 29 played.
And they're on a 3-game winning streak too.
Yeah.
So I think the Capitals do end up making the playoffs. And I think they do secure one of the top 3 spots in the Metro. I think we could see the fuck, dude. It's just so hard. Like they score more goals than the other teams, but they give up way more goals than the other team. It's just like I'm gonna say they get the wild card. They're a wild card team just due to their goaltending. They don't have the surefire goaltending that they used to have when they had Holby.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that too. And especially because I think they lead the league for overtime losses with 9. So
yeah, but that's 9 points that they got though, compared to
but
losing
also that's
regulation.
how many points that they should have had in regulation too. So it's like if they continue to go to overtime, yes, they're getting a point, but also teams under them like Pittsburgh and then in the Atlantic for wild card spots like Boston, like Detroit, if they can continue to get like Boston, they only have 2 overtime losses. So they're getting it done in regulation often. So yeah, I think that Pittsburgh passes them, but yeah, I think that they do enough to get in as a wild card.
And then my last question here. Do you think Vegas wins the Cup this season? All the moves that they've made in the offseason, bringing in Jack Eichel, the moves that they've made, getting rid of Fleury, keeping Leonard. Do you think they remain the top seed of the Pacific for the rest of the year? And do you think they have a great shot to win the Stanley Cup?
Yeah, I mean, makes you wonder if they still had Fleury, if where they'd be at right now. But also, again,
well, trade deadline hasn't passed yet. It's coming up because I know that his name has been circulating in rumors
to go back to Vegas
or to Pittsburgh. Because Boston too, like you talked about them, they just re-signed their goalie that they've had for the last 12 years, Tuukka Rask. They just re-signed him to a deal for like $300,000. He's basically playing for free this year. And there's also David Krejci, their longtime, one of their old vets who retired to go play back home. Rumors are also circulating that he will also be making a return to the Boston Bruins this year on a cheap deal. So they're almost trying to pull the Tampa Bay Lightning method of keeping 2 guys off your cap until you need them.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas, I think they do win the Pacific just because, again, with that division going the way it is, it's they're starting to separate themselves along with the Ducks right now. Do I think they win the Cup? I think it's still I'm still sticking to my guns. Preseason, Colorado, Carolina, Stanley Cup. Colorado 47 points with only 33 games played. Carolina 50 points with only 34 games played. Both of those teams have an amazing chance to skyrocket to the top of the NHL once they get caught up with their games. So I'm going to still stick with those 2 for being a Stanley Cup final.
And both of them teams are on losing streaks. Blue Jackets just blew out Hurricanes 6-0 last night.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens, but usually you don't,
But also,
usually those top teams don't get blown out like that.
But look at their last 10, 7-2-1, 8-1-1. Like, yeah, you don't want to have those blowout games happen just because it knocks down your swagger a little bit, but also in the long run, they're 8-1-1 and 7-2-1, or I don't see any records better than those over the last 8 games or last 10 games. I mean,
Yeah, I guess it's just the quality of the teams that they've lost to. Lost to the Canucks, lost to the Jackets, and then Panthers. Yeah, you get your point going to OT, but it's just like I feel like their COVID break is hurting them. They had all the momentum in the world rolling, and now that was a dead stop. That's just like this year is just so fucked for the NHL, dude.
yeah,
Like my Flyers team, every day is like, all right, 4 new kids tonight stepping in the lineup. All right. It's like who's healthiest is going to make it, I feel like, to the end.
yeah.
It sounds good. Yeah, I don't think that they win the Pacific. And like you said, Central's too tough. I don't think Pacific it's going to be a Central team in the finals.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of teams out. Again, Wild, if they can figure things out. Dallas is starting to roll.
As much as I hate to say it, I think Tampa's going to fucking three-peat.
I mean, it'd be cool to see, but also it's like,
Especially with
watching
all
the Patriots
turnover
all
that
over again.
Yeah, but the turnover that they don't have the same guys every single year like the Patriots did.
Yeah. So it's almost more impressive to bring in new guys and keep doing what you're doing.
Yep, and taking guys from the team that you beat in the Stanley Cup Finals, they picked up 2 of them who've made a huge impact. It's like old guy. That's one great thing about the NHL is that you do have guys prioritizing winning over getting paid.
Yeah.
Where in the NFL, you do have the guys taking the paychecks instead of, sacrificing a little bit of money to go have a great chance to win unless you're at the end of your career. Where you have young guys, you know what? I'll take a little bit less. Let's go win a cup.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and then over into our other category here, some golf talk. Again, with the new PGA season just around the corner, will we see a golfer win more than one major this year? If yes, who will it be?
Yeah, I believe a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about who's just going to win the thing. And I predicted Brooks was going to win the whole thing and he was going to win too. So I'm sticking with my guns.
Yeah, and then I was leaning with Morikawa for winning the whole thing. But I don't because when's the last time we saw a repeat major winner? It's been a couple years, hasn't it? Since somebody's won 2 majors in 1 year.
I think it was Brooks, the last one to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's too many great golfers that, I mean, you got Rahm, you got Brooks, you got DeChambeau, Morikawa. Mickelson throws himself in there out of the blue once in a while too. It'd be cool to see a guy dominate and win more than one major, but I don't think it happens this year.
Only 20 have done it in the entire history of the sport of golf.
Have ever won more than one major in a year?
In the same year. Yep. Tiger's done it 4 times. Then it was Padraig. Tiger did it 2000, 2002, 2005, 2006. Padraig Harrington did it in 08. Rory McIlroy did it in 14. Jordan Spieth did it in 15. And the last was Brooks Koepka. He did it in 2018. So it's been 3 years since it's happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it happens. I think there's too many great golfers that like I said, it'd be cool to see somebody dominate them. Is with how good the field is, to have one guy win more than one major, that's just amazing. But like I said, I don't think it's going to happen this year.
Only reason why I do think that it does have a better chance of happening, even though it isn't, might not be Brooks, the no green books. The great putters are going to be the great putters every single week in and week out now, where there is no advantage for a guy who is a little bit better at math and calculations than other people. So
Yeah.
you're going to see the top putters in the end, if they're, playing good you're going to see the same guys at the top of the leaderboard every single weekend almost.
Yeah. That'd be fun to see how that plays into this year. Guys who, okay, they are that good, and guys who, all right, they leaned on their green book a little too much. They're not as
Like
good
Bryson,
as
that was the biggest controversial person.
yeah, because he's, again, big math guy. Is he gonna
Super, like, for those of you who've watched the match, like hearing him talk, and then when he did the thing with Brooks, like, oh yeah, a little bit this, the angle this, oh my god, this, the power of this, like all these mathematical equations going on in a second, and Brooks is like, the fuck are you line up and hit the ball, dude?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. Then my last question here: who is going to be the number one NFL draft pick next season?
For a while, I was thinking it was gonna be Thibodeau. I think that it's now going to be Hutchinson, another edge rusher again, out of Michigan. Just with, I mean, a lot of it has to do with, again, how you played to finish the season. Thibodeau kind of got shut down in games where he was supposed to be relied upon, wasn't able
He was
to take
hurt
the
too,
game
though.
over. Yeah. So between being hurt and the Ducks not finishing the year they wanted to, that knocks down his draft stock a little bit. He still goes top 5. I think he's still projected to go first or second, depends on what person is giving their mock draft. But I think it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson to Jacksonville, right? They have the first pick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I say Thibodeau goes 1, and I say Hutchinson gets drafted by Detroit Lions and stays in Michigan at the second pick.
That'd be cool.
I just think that that's going to happen. Keeping a Michigan kid in Michigan, obviously lifelong dream. Thibodeau, just the explosiveness of what he has if he's 100% healthy. No, you can't argue that he wasn't the best edge rusher in all of college football when he was healthy. Like, he played with a fucking brace thing on like the majority of the year. Then their team, the Oregon Ducks, was in shambles anyway. So many people leaving, their coach leaves. Like, I just feel like as a whole this year for all the Ducks players in general, just didn't go the way you wanted to. After the Ohio State game, it's like everything fell apart for that whole entire organization.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to give the kid number 1. I think he deserves it. But I do think Hutchinson goes 2 to the Lions.
Sounds good then. Wrapping up here then with our last episode, kind of talking about college football, closing the book on that season. Just to kind of recap, anybody who hasn't listened to the last couple episodes, well, last handful of episodes, we've been doing a coin flip generator predicting all the outcomes of every single college football game. There ended up being 32 total. And after the national championship, the coin had picked Georgia to win, and Georgia is this year's national champions. So the coin ended up finishing a perfect 16-16, as kind of we were expected to happen. Just with regular coin flipping, you're supposed to get darn near 50-50 every time, and that's exactly what ended up happening. So that's cool how that played out.
Yeah, and then I guess I do just have a quick trivia question for you here. Average draft position, who do you think has the best? Obviously, the best would be later picks, but who do you think has the best average all time from like average pick position? Who do you think is,
as far as closest
number
to
one?
Number one?
Or no, closest to 32, because that'd be obviously your team did the best then. Like, who do you think has the best average draft position as far as like best meaning lowest on the board?
I'm gonna say Steelers or Cowboys.
Green Bay Packers.
Really? I was going to.
Our average draft position is 30th in the
Wow.
history of our franchise. The next closest is Tampa. They're 28.2. Then the Titans, 27.8. Chiefs, 27.5. Lions, their second average pick is 27.2 in the first round.
What the heck?
Yeah, they normally have 2 picks in the first round, the Lions, for how bad that they've been historically as a franchise. Their number 1 pick, their average position is 1.8. So either they're the first pick or the second pick. Jacksonville is 1.2. They're normally always number 1.
Yeah.
Then Houston is 3. Jets are 3. Houston's 3.4. Jets are 3.8. Giants are 5.2. Panthers are 5.6. Jets 8.1 for their second pick. Giants for their second pick average 8.3. Like, just going off of how shit these teams have been historically over the past, since Eli Manning has left?
Pretty much, yeah. Since that Bolt pick with
Odell,
Giants,
yeah.
with Odell, they haven't had a winning season, and that picture is just cursed.
And then it was hilarious. Did you hear how they fired Joe Judge?
No, I didn't.
They called a meeting to have everybody come, like all the people on the staff come there, and everybody showed up and said, "Get out, you're fired."
That's awesome.
Because New York was pumping, "Oh, we're sticking with Joe Judge and whatever."
They announced they're staying with him and Jones.
They some insider leaked that wasn't supposed to happen, and I think. Obviously, it's all speculation, but there's rumors that Joe Judge was leaking shit to the media all season long, like behind closed doors almost. Because obviously, it's a fucking position for them too. Head coaches of leaking to the media what they're gonna do, keeping potential jobs open, stuff like that. Like it's cutthroat business.
Yeah.
But if you don't get W's, don't matter.
No. That's hilarious, though. All right, everybody, come in, take a seat. Except you, get the fuck out.
You're fired. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and they
Respect it.
Gettleman retired too, so it's gonna be interesting to see the Giants next year. They're kind of top down. They're gonna be having some new faces.
Reboot,
which they need a lot.
Yeah, it never hurts It never hurts, I don't think. Honestly, when you're in the position that you're in, when you don't even have a franchise quarterback, doesn't hurt.
Because it makes you wonder what GM and what coach they bring in. Jones, get the fuck out of here. You suck too.
Or, hey, bud, we understand that you were a top pick. You're riding the pine pony.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to learn behind a guy that we're going to bring in and show you how to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude. It's going to be – I'm excited for this weekend's games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be good.
And, yeah, thanks for everybody for stopping by. We appreciate all the love and support. We will have an episode releasing tomorrow for all those. Normally, we do the Wednesday episode. That is being released tomorrow. You'll see why when you watch the episode and listen to it that way. So yeah, we're just gonna kind of leave that off on that. We're excited. We have a new sponsor that also will be announced in that episode. So go on and check that out. That drops tomorrow at what, noon?
Noon. Yep, 12 p.m. Central Time tomorrow.
12 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. Our third episode will be coming out this week. So go on over, check that out. All of our socials, everything you know what to do. We'll be posting all weekend long, covering the games, maybe even making up some mocks depending on some things that happen. And yeah, we will see you guys all on Monday.
Have a great weekend.